Once upon a time in a faraway land, there was a kind and gentle king named Midas. He ruled over a peaceful and prosperous kingdom where all the people were happy. The kingdom was filled with lush forests, green meadows, and crystal-clear rivers. The townsfolk were content, and their days were filled with merriment and laughter. King Midas had a beautiful daughter named Marigold, whom he loved more than anything in the world. Marigold had golden hair and bright blue eyes, and her laughter was like the sweetest music. She was the joy of the king's life, and together they spent many hours exploring the kingdom's beauty. However, King Midas had one great obsession: gold. He was fascinated by the precious metal and collected it in all its forms. He had golden goblets, golden plates, and even a golden throne. He loved the way gold shimmered and sparkled in the sunlight. He loved its weight and the way it felt in his hands. More than anything, he wished that everything he touched would turn to gold. On a day of fateful consequence, King Midas found himself walking through the bountiful, verdant paradise that was his royal garden. It was a sanctuary, a place of tranquil repose filled with the intoxicating scent of blooming roses, the soft rustling of the cherry blossom trees, and the harmonious melodies of songbirds. His heart was at peace as he strolled along the cobblestone paths, his eyes drinking in the colorful splendor around him. In the heart of this lush Eden, beneath the sprawling branches of an ancient gnarled oak tree, he spotted a peculiar sight. There lay a small creature, its body shimmering in the silvery gray hues of morning dew. It was no ordinary being, but a magical creature rarely seen by mortal eyes. Its small, delicate wings fluttered softly as it dreamed, reflecting the sunlight in ethereal glimmers. This sleeping guest was none other than Elvar, a magical elf known in whispers and legends for his extraordinary power to grant wishes. Taken aback by this astounding discovery, King Midas approached the elf with a mixture of reverence and curiosity. With a gentle touch, he woke Elvar from his slumber. The elf slowly opened his eyes, his gaze meeting King Midas's surprised expression. His small face wore a bemused smile, for he was accustomed to the astonishment his kind stirred in humans. Midas, his voice tinged with uncertainty and awe, asked, "Are you truly a magical elf, as told in the tales of old? Do you possess the power to make dreams come true and grant wishes?" Elvar, rubbing the sleep from his eyes, nodded affirmatively. His voice, though soft, carried a grave seriousness as he replied, "Indeed, I am as you say, King Midas. I bear the power to make one of your wishes come true. But heed my words, for wishes are not to be taken lightly. They hold great power, and if not made wisely, can lead to unforeseen consequences. I urge you, think carefully and deeply before you decide upon your heart's desire." King Midas stood still, his heart pounding as he pondered the immense opportunity laid before him. His mind raced, spinning through countless possibilities and dreams he had harbored since his youth. Images of power, success, and peace flitted across the canvas of his thoughts, each one tempting him with their allure. However, among all these desires, one stood out like a beacon, a deep-seated longing that had taken root in his heart long ago, his love for gold. It was an obsession, a fascination that held a relentless grip on his soul. He adored its weight, its feel, and above all, its entrancing shimmer that sparkled under the sun's rays. Without any hesitation, the words tumbled out of his mouth, as if they had a will of their own. He declared with unwavering certainty, "I wish that everything I touch turns to gold." His voice echoed through the peaceful silence of the garden, the gravity of his words settling around them. Upon hearing this, Elvar's eyes widened, and a crease of concern furrowed his brow. He peered into King Midas's eyes, searching for any trace of doubt or reconsideration, but found none. Sighing, he warned the eager king, Remember, dear Midas, with great power comes great responsibility. Gold holds a captivating allure, but not everything that glitters is as valuable as it seems. Gold cannot offer comfort in loneliness, nor can it quench the thirst of the soul. But if this truly is your heart's desire, then so it shall be. Raising his tiny hand, Elvar closed his eyes and began to chant in a language as old as time itself. The air around them hummed with the energy of ancient magic, and a golden aura enveloped his hand. With one final wave, the elf released the magic, and the golden aura danced its way towards King Midas, granting him his golden wish. The king could feel a warm, tingling sensation in his fingertips, marking the beginning of a new chapter in his life, a chapter filled with golden promises and unforeseen challenges. As the magic of the wish unfurled, King Midas felt a peculiar sensation, akin to a gentle warmth, coursing through his hands. It was a tingling feeling, spreading from his fingertips and seeping into his very being, a testament to the extraordinary power he now possessed. The king was suddenly filled with a surge of exhilaration and anticipation, his heartbeat thundering like a drum in his chest. With wide-eyed wonder and an uncontainable eagerness, he hurried back towards his castle, the prospect of testing his golden touch driving him forward. Once he reached his castle grounds, his gaze fell on a delicate flower blooming in his garden. Its vibrant petals, gently swaying in the breeze, beckoned him. Without a moment's hesitation, he reached out and touched the flower. In an instant, its velvety petals stiffened, transforming into solid gold. The once soft, vibrant bloom was now a gilded artifact, frozen in a perpetual state of beauty. A gasp escaped King Midas's lips as he held the golden flower in his hands, its weight significantly heavier than before. The king then laid his hand on the bark of a nearby tree. The rough, ridged bark turned smooth and hard, transforming into a shimmering golden spectacle that gleamed under the sun's radiant light. It was truly a sight to behold. His heart filled with a sense of triumph and ecstasy, King Midas knew that this was just the beginning. His life, as he knew it, was about to change in unimaginable ways. He felt as if he held the world in his hands and everything was within his reach. Embracing the thrill of his newfound power, King Midas spent the rest of the day indulging in his golden fantasy. His favorite books, the worn leather of their covers, and the crisp parchment pages, all turned to gold at his touch. His fine clothes, the silky fabrics and intricate embroideries were transformed into spectacular golden garments. Even his comfortable, well-worn shoes became stiff, heavy replicas of themselves, gleaming with a golden sheen. Word spread quickly among the people of the kingdom about their king's miraculous ability. They watched, wide-eyed and awestruck, as everyday objects turned to gold at King Midas's touch. Excitement buzzed through the air, filling the kingdom with a sense of marvel and anticipation. The king's golden touch, they believed, would usher in a new era of prosperity and wonders. As the sky painted itself in hues of twilight, King Midas lay in his magnificent bed, the soft plush pillows cradling his head. His heartbeat echoed in the silent room, in tune with the low hum of excitement that coursed through his veins. His eyes stared at the intricate carvings on the ceiling, but his mind was far away, embarking on a journey through a realm of golden possibilities. Imagination, spurred by the intoxicating power of his golden touch, painted vibrant dreams that danced in the king's mind. He envisioned grand palaces made entirely of gleaming gold, forests with golden leaves rustling in the breeze, and rivers flowing with molten gold under the radiant sun. His dreams spun a world where every speck glittered and shone with resplendent beauty. The soft lullaby of these golden dreams beckoned him into the arms of slumber, a peaceful smile dancing on his lips. Little did King Midas know that these gilded dreams would soon morph into a haunting nightmare, casting a shadow over his golden kingdom. As the morning sun cast its golden rays through the castle windows, King Midas stirred from his slumber. A sense of anticipation welled within him like the bubbling spring of a glistening river. He was ready to seize the day, eager to uncover the full breadth of his extraordinary ability. With a newfound spring in his step, he sauntered through the castle's grand halls. A simple touch from the king transformed ordinary chairs into ornate golden thrones. Sturdy oak tables morphed into magnificent golden banquet tables. Even the cold gray stone walls turned into shimmering expanses of gold that reflected the morning light in a dazzling spectacle. His loyal servants, their faces reflecting a mix of astonishment and reverence, watched as their beloved king unveiled his incredible power. Their eyes widened as everyday objects turned into objects of sheer opulence under King Midas's touch. The king's castle was no longer just a residence. It was rapidly transforming into a wondrous golden palace, the likes of which had never been seen before. As the radiant sun reached its zenith, King Midas decided it was time to spread the golden enchantment amongst his people. His heart swelled with magnanimity and a desire to share the riches his touch could create. Eager to turn their ordinary lives into extraordinary ones, the king embarked on a stroll through his kingdom, a sense of purpose and excitement accompanying his every step. The bustling town came to a standstill as King Midas, a striking figure with an air of magic about him, made his way through the cobblestone streets. With a single touch, he transformed the rusted tools of hard-working farmers into golden artifacts. The bountiful wares of enthusiastic merchants turned into valuable treasures. It was a sight that took the townsfolk's breath away, their eyes shimmering with wonder and admiration. Cheers echoed through the streets as people hailed their benevolent king. They marveled at their transformed possessions, their faces glowing with gratitude and hope. They believed in their hearts that their lives were on the brink of a glorious transformation, that their mundane struggles would be replaced with prosperity and luxury. However, as the day steadily rolled into the afternoon and the initial euphoria began to subside, King Midas started to perceive the subtle, unforeseen consequences of his golden touch. The farmers, standing amidst their golden fields, struggled to lift their precious tools. What once were sturdy, reliable implements were now heavy, delicate showpieces unfit for toiling the land. Merchants, initially overjoyed by their opulent merchandise, soon found their shops filled with customers who could only admire but not purchase. Their golden goods, while magnificent to look at, were too valuable and fragile for everyday use. Trade and commerce, the lifeblood of the town, started to feel the grip of stagnation. The reality of his situation became even more stark during a meal when the succulent fruits he loved turned into unyielding golden sculptures at his touch. The sweet, juicy delights he once relished were now a feast only for the eyes. In the silence of his grand golden dining room, King Midas realized that his coveted gift was turning out to be more of a curse, a grim reality that was beginning to cast long, unsettling shadows on his golden dream. Despite the burgeoning issues, King Midas seemed unwilling, or perhaps unable, to acknowledge the precarious reality of his wish. He was entranced, ensnared in the glittering web of gold that he himself had spun. He continued to indulge in his golden touch, painting everything around him with a Midas touch, seemingly oblivious to the difficulties that his golden world was starting to pose. The allure and unparalleled beauty of the precious metal blinded him to the emerging troubles, their subtle whisper drowned out by the loud, mesmerizing song of gold. As evening draped its velvet cloak over the kingdom, King Midas prepared for a grand feast, a celebration of his golden reality. The grand dining hall glittered in the soft glow of the golden chandeliers, each golden creation contributing to a dazzling display of opulence. Surrounded by his golden treasures, the king took his place at the head of the table, a radiant figure amidst a sea of gold. His beloved daughter Marigold joined him, her soft footfalls echoing in the grandeur of the dining hall. Her eyes, so much like her father's, twinkled with a blend of wonder and trepidation. As she looked around, she saw her world turned into a gold-laden spectacle, her heart filled with a swirling mix of awe and uncertainty. The feast was a splendid array of dishes, each more tantalizing than the last. However, as King Midas lifted his fork and brought it towards his mouth, the succulent morsel at its end turned into a cold, hard nugget of gold. The aromatic flavors and tantalizing textures he had been looking forward to tasting were replaced by the metallic taste of gold. A gasp echoed through the hall as Marigold watched, her eyes wide with horror, as her father bit into a golden apple, its once juicy flesh now a solid mass of gold. The bitter reality of King Midas's golden wish was laid bare in the echoing silence of the dining hall. The king could not partake in the basic pleasure of eating a meal, his golden touch rendering everything he touched inedible. This realization came crashing down, a stark reminder of the old adage, "All that glitters is not gold." Marigold, her tender heart burdened with an overwhelming worry, turned to her father. Her soft voice rang out in the quiet grandeur of the dining hall, carrying with it a plea born of deep concern. "Father," she began, her eyes meeting his, "this gift, it's not a blessing as we first thought, but a curse. We cannot partake in the simple joys of a meal, and our people suffer from its unforeseen repercussions." She paused, her gaze sweeping over the dining hall, the golden feast lying untouched, a grim reminder of the wish's consequences. "Father, you must find a way to undo this wish," she implored, her hands gently holding his. "Our kingdom, our people, and we ourselves need the balance of life back, not this golden facade." As Marigold's words echoed in the silent hall, King Midas felt a wave of realization crash over him. His head, held high until now, drooped, weighed down by the magnitude of his folly. He saw with a painful clarity how his fixation with gold had cast a veil over his eyes, blinding him to the inherent value of the everyday things he once cherished. The king looked at his hands, the hands that could transform everything they touched into gold, and felt a profound regret. His heart ached with a bitter sadness, and he could no longer ignore the stark reality of the disaster his golden wish had wrought. Drawing a deep breath, King Midas made a firm decision. He had to rectify the damage he had done. He would seek the help of the magical elf, Elvar, the one who had granted him his disastrous wish. A glimmer of hope ignited within him, fueled by his resolution to restore his kingdom to its former simple glory, to reverse the chaos his golden touch had unleashed. Fueled by his newfound determination, King Midas found himself once again treading the familiar paths of his royal gardens. This was where his story with the golden touch had begun, and he hoped this was where it would end. His eyes scanned the verdant landscape, seeking the silvery glimmer of the elf, Elvar. He called out to the magical creature, his voice echoing through the once comforting tranquility of his gardens. However, despite his fervent searching and calling, Elvar was conspicuously absent. His gardens, once a source of joy and serenity, seemed to mock his desperation with their golden silence. A sinking sense of hopelessness began to gnaw at King Midas's heart. His optimism waned, and in its place, a cold desperation began to creep in. It was then that he remembered the tales of an ancient oracle who was said to possess wisdom as vast as the seas. This oracle, rumored to be residing in a hidden cave at the fringe of his kingdom, was known to have answers for the most profound dilemmas. Embracing this newfound hope, King Midas decided to embark on a quest to meet the oracle. He knew the journey would be fraught with challenges, its path winding and treacherous, but he was prepared to face whatever came his way. His love for his daughter Marigold and his people gave him the strength he needed to embark on this journey. His travels led him through the dense heart of forgotten forests, their canopies shrouding his path in shadows. He forded fast-flowing rivers, their waters foaming at the rush, threatening to sweep him away. He conquered towering mountains, their peaks lost in the clouds, their slopes steeper than any he had ever seen. Through it all, King Midas was cautious, careful not to touch anything along his path, fearing the golden curse that trailed his every step. After days filled with relentless travel and nights under the open sky, King Midas finally found himself standing at the mouth of the oracle's cave. A sense of relief washed over him, but it was tinged with anxiety. He was finally here, standing at the threshold of answers, but would the oracle be able to help him reverse his golden curse? The oracle, an enigmatic figure as old as time itself, her eyes reflecting centuries of wisdom and understanding, listened attentively to King Midas's sorrowful tale. Her ancient heart, no stranger to tales of desires gone awry, filled with empathy for the distraught king. Speaking in a voice as soft as the rustling of leaves yet laden with profound wisdom, she said, "King Midas, you allowed your affection for gold to overshadow the true essence of your life. However, there is always time to grow from one's missteps. To lift the curse, you must seek forgiveness, not just from others, but from yourself too. You must unshackle yourself from your golden obsession." King Midas, his regal countenance reflecting a dawning understanding, nodded in affirmation. His heart resonated with the oracle's wisdom, his resolve solidifying in the crucible of his experiences. He turned to the oracle, the question in his eyes mirrored in his voice. "But how do I find Elvar, the magical elf who set this curse in motion? I need his aid to undo the ramifications of my golden wish." The oracle, her gaze unwavering, closed her eyes as if delving deep within her ancient reservoir of knowledge. Her voice, eerily calm, wove an intricate tapestry of incantations as old as the earth itself. With the last syllable of her enchantment, she opened her eyes, now shimmering with an otherworldly light. "You will find Elvar in the heart of the Enchanted Forest, nestled within a glade that glimmers with magic. Yet, heed my warning, King Midas. Your path will be littered with trials and tantalizing temptations. Your resolution must remain unwavering, your eyes focused on your mission. Resist the beguiling allure of gold, for it is only in resistance that you will find redemption." Armed with the oracle's guidance, King Midas embarked on his journey to seek Elvar in the mystic heart of the Enchanted Forest. As he stepped into the lush greenery of the forest, he found himself embraced by towering trees whose leaves shimmered like precious emeralds, casting dappled shadows on the mossy forest floor. The air was sweet with the intoxicating scent of exotic blooms and was filled with the melodious harmonies of birds serenading the dawn. As King Midas journeyed deeper into the heart of the forest, he found himself faced with an array of trials and temptations. He came upon a river, a golden serpentine ribbon winding through the forest floor, its waters teeming with precious gemstones and glittering with golden dust. The sight was breathtaking, beckoning him with the promise of limitless wealth. He knew he could easily extend his hands and claim the treasures that lay before him. Yet, the oracle's cautionary words echoed in his mind. With a deep breath, King Midas steeled himself against the lure of gold and continued his journey, his mission to find Elvar driving him forward. As King Midas ventured deeper into the forest, he came across an unusual tree, unlike any he had seen before. It stood proudly amidst the verdant foliage, its branches heavy with apples. But these were no ordinary fruits. They sparkled with a captivating golden sheen, their enticing aroma wafting in the gentle forest breeze. Each apple was a symbol of tempting wealth, a testament to the riches that his golden touch could bring. A pang of hunger reminded King Midas of the long journey he had embarked upon. The golden apples seemed like the perfect sustenance, yet with every fiber of his being screaming in hunger, King Midas found the strength to resist. He knew that indulging in even a single bite of these golden treasures would only feed his curse, strengthening its golden chains around his life. With a heavy heart and an empty stomach, King Midas chose to move on, leaving the tantalizing golden fruits untouched. After many more days of unwavering determination and relentless travel, King Midas finally arrived at his destination, the heart of the Enchanted Forest, the glimmering glade. The glade was a wonder to behold, a spectacle of nature bathed in a dreamlike glow. The air around him shimmered as if dancing in golden light, and an array of delicate flowers carpeted the ground, blooming in a riot of colors that spanned the entire spectrum of the rainbow. The glade was a symphony of vibrant hues and radiant light, a haven of magic in the heart of the forest. In the center of this captivating glade, nestled on a soft bed of emerald moss, lay Elvar. The magical elf seemed at peace, resting in the heart of the enchanted world he belonged to. Elvar looked up, his eyes widening in surprise as he spotted King Midas, a figure he hadn't expected to see again. "Why have you sought me out again, King Midas?" Elvar questioned, his voice echoing softly amidst the serenity of the glade. "Was the gift of the golden touch not to your liking?" King Midas, tears glistening in his eyes like dewdrops on a morning leaf, replied, his voice choked with remorse. "Elvar, I made a grave error in judgment. My fixation on gold has wreaked havoc on my kingdom and inflicted pain upon my beloved daughter Marigold. I implore you, help me reverse my ill-considered wish." Elvar peered deeply into the eyes of King Midas, piercing beyond the veneer of royalty to the depths of his remorse-laden soul. He witnessed the sincerity that radiated from the once greedy king, the humility that had replaced his once unquenchable thirst for wealth. Giving a slow, thoughtful nod, Elvar responded, "King Midas, it seems you have indeed absorbed a lesson of immeasurable value. I shall extend my help, but there is a condition. You must swear to never again allow your desire for gold to cloud your judgment, to blind you to the true wealth of life." Tears of gratitude welled up in King Midas's eyes as he fervently nodded in agreement. His voice, once authoritative and commanding, now soft with the profound wisdom of his learned lesson, he swore, "I pledge to you, Elvar, that I have deeply internalized this life lesson. I shall place the true treasures of life, love, family, the well-being and happiness of my kingdom, on a pedestal, treasuring them far above any material wealth." With a gentle yet decisive wave of his tiny hand, Elvar, the magical elf, reversed the golden curse he had once bestowed upon King Midas. As the enchantment lifted, the king could feel the strange warm sensation in his hands gradually recede, replaced by a sense of profound relief. Simultaneously, everything that had been transformed into glittering gold by the king's ill-fated wish began to revert back to its original form. The transformation was nothing short of miraculous. All across the kingdom, Golden tools once again became useful implements of iron and wood. Luxurious golden clothes turned back into comfortable garments of silk and cotton. Even the golden food returned to its delicious, edible form. A wave of relief washed over the kingdom as the adverse effects of King Midas's golden touch were finally undone. King Midas returned to his castle, embracing his daughter Marigold, who was overjoyed to have her father back. The people of the kingdom celebrated the end of the curse and the return of their wise and humble king. From that day forward, King Midas lived a content and happy life, surrounded by the love of his people and the beauty of his kingdom. He ruled with wisdom and kindness, always remembering the lessons he had learned from his golden touch. And as for Elvar, the magical elf, he continued to grant wishes to those who sought him out, but he always made sure to remind them of the tale of King Midas and the importance of valuing the true riches in life.